The camera came from Saudi Arabia. My father had worked for the same company for years. The kind of tenor that companies used to reward with actual gifts. And when the time came, they gave him a video camera. Not a phone camera, a real video camera. Of course, this was the 80s. A heavy, with a viewfinder, the kind you had to hold at eye level and look through. This is where it starts for me. Not with a YouTube channel, not with LinkedIn, not with a stream deck or a ring light. It starts with a video camera in a Riyadh apartment, in hands of a kid who had never seen anything like it. I used that camera to record family events, cousins' gatherings, things that felt worth preserving. Nobody taught me anything about framing or lighting. I just pointed the camera at what mattered and pressed record. When my family moved to the United States in 1995, the camera came with us. I kept recording family events, cousins, the fabric of ordinary life that you only understand later you should have been capturing. Now, at this point, I had no concept of content. I just understood that video lets you hold on to moments that would otherwise disappear. And that's still true. That still matters. What changed was the technology, and the technology changed everything. Around 2000, I was assembling computers for a small shop and making connections everywhere I went. And one of the people I met was a guy who shot wedding videos. He came in needing a machine powerful enough to run Adobe Premiere and Sony Vegas Pro. I built it for him. In exchange, he showed me what he was doing. These weren't just recordings. He had Hollywood effects, transitions, color work, title sequences. He was making movies out of ordinary moments. And I had never seen anything like it done at that level by one person working alone on a machine I could build myself. That was a moment I understood what video production actually was. Not just recording, editing, not just capturing, but crafting. The difference between pressing record and making something, I filed it. Didn't act on it for years, but I filed it. Fast forward to 2010. I was at Dish Network in Denver on a mobile design team. And in 2013, my wife gave me a DSLR camera as an anniversary gift. I took every photography course lynda.com had to offer. It's now known as LinkedIn Learning. I joined meetup groups, photography, screenwriting, film production, anything that got me in the room with people who were making things. In Colorado, I volunteered at the Boulder Film Festival. I met people who were shooting short films on the weekends. I found a community of people who treated cameras the way I treated computers, as tools for building something you care about. In 2014, I moved to Virginia. New city, new chapter. I joined a cycling team, started connecting with tech and creative communities in the DC area. Whew. And at a LinkedIn local event, I had my cameras with me. I was walking around shooting footage of speakers, documenting the event. Someone noticed. His name, still my friend, was Rod Ferrier. He came up to me and said, "You should give a talk on smartphone video production." Guess what I said? I said yes. And that led to a 30-day LinkedIn video challenge where I committed to producing a series of videos on mobile video production. I broke it into 3 arcs. First, the why. Why smartphone video? Why now? why this matters for professionals and entrepreneurs. Second, the apps. Every worthwhile tool on iOS and Android for shooting and editing. Third, the equipment. What you actually need, what's optional, and what's just marketing. I posted these on LinkedIn. The response surprised me. People who were watching, commenting, tagging colleagues. Messages came in. How do you do this? Can you teach more? I started reaching out personally. I said, I noticed you liked the video on this topic. Would you want to know when I release more comprehensive course? And most people said yes. I built a newsletter, I built surveys to understand exactly what gaps people were trying to fill. Then I opened a Teachable account and started building the course. Now here's what all of that taught me that I didn't expect. The equipment was never the real problem. People had cameras, people had phones, people had ring lights and microphones. And yes, that rhymes. Now what they didn't have was a system, a set of decisions they could make once and then stop thinking about, so they could focus on the actual content. Nobody wants to spend 45 minutes adjusting their background before a podcast recording. Nobody wants to be the person whose audio is 30% worse than their guests. And nobody wants to find out their camera has been in autofocus this whole time, hunting back and forth every time they move. They want to walk in, sit down, look good, sound good, talk to people, and that's it. That realization is what Home Studio Mastery became. Not a channel about gear, a system for removing the friction between you and the conversation you're trying to have. It started with the video camera my father received as a gift in Saudi Arabia. It passed through a wedding videographer in California, a DSLR in Colorado, a 30-day LinkedIn challenge in Virginia. Every step deposited something. This is where all of that depositing ends up. If you're building your own setup and want to skip 10 years of trial and error, Home Studio Mastery is where I put everything I've learned. Camera placement, mic selection, lighting, background, all of it without the gear obsession. Again, the link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you in the next video.